Welcome back to Animation Station, your most listener for anything with animation, including TVs and movies as well. I'm your host, Jackson Small, and today we're talking about an animated movie today. A pretty freaking great one. But unfortunately, next time, you know what, we'll save that for next time. Save it for next time, because first, we have a legit great movie to talk about today. So, let's get the greatness out of the way first, and deal with the dumpster fire next time. So, what are we reviewing today? Inside Out. Arguably one of the best movies Pixar has ever done. It has been hailed as many as one of the best films they've ever done, one of the best Disney movies ever made, and it's just been endlessly praised. And I can see why. It's unique, it's creative, it's funny, it's enjoyable, it's emotional, it's entertaining, it's gripping. Like, it's everything you want out of an animated movie. And it's also one of the most adult and mature animated movies, too, so this is going to be a bit of a longer review than usual, because I do have a lot to say about this movie, but let me just say right now, it's pretty much all praise. I have a little bit of nitpicks here and there, specifically with the second half and the ending, but I'll get there. First thing I want to talk about, though, animation. Amazing. Amazing animation. I mean, this is Pixar, after all. Even if their products are a little hit or miss, especially nowadays, they always bring it with their animation. They're always different in style, they're always different in their unique themes. It's always something different. And in this one, it's a bunch of emotions while also the human world. And they both look great, especially some of the really cool animation tricks they do for certain parts, like abstract thought. Still absolutely blows my mind every time I see that part. It's so well animated and so well done. So yeah, animation, perfect. Story, not quite perfect, but it is great. It is pretty much a movie about the inner emotions of a human. Specifically, in this case, Riley, this young girl who's going through a move. And we see how these other emotions react to it, and there's this thing going on with joy and sadness, where joy doesn't understand how sadness is actually necessary to, Riley's well-being. So they end up getting in a little bit of a friendly sort of argument. It's a little hard to explain. And they both end up getting sucked out of headquarters and into the memory bank, which leaves disgust, fear, and anger to try and control Riley while they're doing this. Problem is, they don't know how to control Riley while doing this, so what ends up happening is that all these islands that are created from some of her best memories, these core memories, if you will, they start collapsing. So it's a race against time for joy and sadness to get back before, well, pretty much all Riley's mind falls apart. It's a very unique story, it's very well told, and it is legitimately interesting, not to mention all the really cool ways they try to visualize these certain aspects of humanity. Like I said, abstract thought, amazing. Train of thought, great. Or stuff like Imagination Land, Family Island. Like, all that is so cool. Heck, they even have an imaginary friend in here, Bing Bong. And he is a delight every minute he's on screen. So, yeah, story, great. But I do have a little bit of a nitpick, specifically with the second half. It does kind of get a little bit repetitive. Just a little bit. Not to the point of, eye-rolling, but just to the point of being a little bit noticeable. So, yeah, there's that. Then, next is the characters. They're a mixed bag. I love Joy. Joy is great in this movie. She is legitimately great. I really enjoy her. Sadness, it takes a little bit of time to really understand her character, but she's pretty good. Anger's great. He might be my favorite of the emotions because he's so over the top, and just some of the jokes they throw in with his character is really good. Like how his whole head lights on fire when he's extremely angry and raging. Like, that's so cool. And then there's Fear. He's fine. Not really much to say, aside from he's voiced by Bill Hader. Pretty much it. And Disgust. She's that sassy, how do I put this without being offensive? She's like that sassy, top of the line, way too worried about her looks, cheerleader stereotype. I'm not going to say the actual word because I think nowadays that might be a little bit offensive, but point is, she's an archetype I'm not a fan of, but her character overall in this movie is fine. She doesn't really do much, she says a few lines, and she acts like, how you expect her to act given her character, but she doesn't really do much until towards the end, so yeah, Disgust is okay. But the two I really care about here is Joy and the human counterpart, Riley. These two are great characters that you see develop all throughout the story along with the different changing of emotions. And it's all just really fascinating to see. And the way that, again, how they visualize everything, it's really creative and it shows a lot of talent and work and effort put into this one. So, yeah, characters are great. Voice acting. It's good. I can't say it's great, but it's good. I was not expecting to like Amy Poehler as Joy. I don't find her funny. I don't find her in the least bit as an interesting voice actress, but she was surprisingly great in this movie. I will give her that. Not a big Amy Poehler fan, but she does a really good job in here. What was her name? Phyllis? What was the friggin' name? Is it in here? Oh, no, of course not. Crap. Phyllis something. Sorry. Editing will correct me later. The one that voices Sadness, she does great. Like, she does legit great. And then you have the guy that plays Anger. Editing, help me. He's great. He is definitely the best part of the movie. Bill Hader's pretty good as Fear, but he can get a little bit much at times. And then finally there's Disgust. Editing. Thank you. Her voice acting is okay, but again, it's that stereotype of, like the spoiled high school rich kid. That's pretty much her stereotype, and it's as annoying as it sounds. But the voice acting's fine, and the character's fine. It's just an archetype I'm not a fan of. And then you have Riley. Riley's great. Her voice acting is great. The parents are fine. I do like the voices they have with their inner emotions as well. I don't remember all their names, but they're pretty good too. But the actual human voices of them, they're fine. They serve their purpose. They're okay. But I don't really remember them very well. I mainly remember this movie for Joy and Riley. That's the two reasons why I remember this movie the most. So, outside of all those other little things, is there any other thing that I think really damages the movie? Yeah, there's one thing that kind of really damages it for me. It has severe lack of rewatch value. Now, it's not to say, like, if I'm in the mood, I pop it in, I will enjoy it, absolutely. But problem is, getting in that mood, it's rare. Like, this is only, like, my 5th time watching this since it came out in 2015, sorry. This is only my 5th time seeing it after it came out in 2015, and it's 2024, obviously, nearly 10 years later, and I've only watched it 5 times. But when I'm in the mood, I will pop it in, I will enjoy it, but that mood coming around is a very rare occurrence. It just doesn't feel like one of those movies that's meant to be super rewatchable. Like, it doesn't have the crazy action zaniness of Incredibles or the goofy but very interesting world building of Monsters, Inc. And it doesn't have that father-child relationship like in Finding Nemo. It's kind of a movie that kind of falls in the middle in that category. It's still an amazing film, absolutely, but it just doesn't really have that much rewatch value for me. It's just my personal opinion. So, I've pretty much talked about everything I can with this movie. Like I said, I try to keep these spoiler-free most of the time. So, why don't I go ahead, keep my computer from falling asleep, so I have some extra light here, and tell you my final verdict for the first Inside Out. It's a 10 out of 10. Like, no joke, this is a 10 out of 10 movie. It's definitely one of Pixar's best, but it lacks in rewatch value. It has a few story issues in the second half. It gets a little bit repetitive, and some of the characters are very hit or miss. But outside of that, it's still a fantastic film. They still did an amazing job with what they were assigned to do, and I definitely think this is a movie that you should give a watch. But like I said, if you don't have that need to like endlessly rewatch it, I can understand. I'm the same way, because it just doesn't have that much rewatch value. It's an amazing film, but it's a movie that you kind of like just pop in every now and then if you're in the mood. But when it is in the mood, it is an amazing movie, and the second half of this movie, yeah, the second half might make you cry a little bit. I mean, this is Pixar. They love to mess with our emotions. So, yep. That's my thoughts on the first Inside Out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And now we gotta talk about the other one. I really don't want to. I don't want to. But I might as well get it over with. My next review is probably going to be one of the most controversial things you will ever see from me on this channel. Just a fair warning. You want to know how? Because I might hate the sequel more than I hate Kung Fu Panda 4. Yeah, it is that bad. So, join me next time where we talk all about the miserable, overrated failure that is Inside Out 2. See you then.
We cannot take it anymore.